Hello everybody, good morning, welcome to That's Football. It's another week and we've got the latest transfer news for you, and it starts off with a very, very big story. Tottenham have put Harry Kane up for sale. We wondered whether this would happen. I think it's the right thing to do. Let's get into that. Also, want to talk about Arsenal in crisis after losing to Manchester United at the weekend. It's a bit of a joke, but I do want to get some opinions on Arsenal. Reading things over the weekend, the one thing, I've read a lot of stuff, some of it nonsense. You know, it is only pre-season, but I had some things to say about Ramsdale and Havertz that I think will be interesting to monitor over the season, but I still think Arsenal can have a good season. Some people are saying they're going to do a Leicester. They're going to have one good season and then it's all going to fall apart. I want to talk about Arsenal and their season ahead. Also, Mbappe, huge offer coming in for Mbappe. Meant to be around 300 million euros, I think, from Saudi Arabia. We'll talk about that as well and a few other bits going on around the Premier League. But let's start off with Spurs. So effectively, Daniel Levy doesn't own Spurs. I think some people think he does. He's basically the CEO, the chief executive. He's the guy who always gets mentioned, but he doesn't own the club. Apparently, the club owners have said, if Harry Kane's not going to sign a new contract this summer, you've got to sell him, Daniel. So that's where Spurs are at the moment. We know there's been a few offers from Bayern Munich, and apparently Harry Kane's wife has been house hunting in the Munich area, so it looks logical that that's where he's going to go. I think this is sad news for Spurs fans, but I think it's positive news as well. Spurs need to make a decision. They cannot just keep, is he for sale? Isn't he for sale? There's a business decision to be made here. There's a football decision to be made here. And actually, I think they go together. You can keep Harry Kane. He can score you a load of goals and then he walks out the door for nothing and potentially walks out the door to Chelsea or Manchester United. And he goes for nothing. So all the 30 goals he scored you to make you finish 7th mean nothing anyway. And he walks out for nothing. I know there's a lot of Spurs fans that like the idea of that. I know there's a lot of Spurs fans that think, maybe, under the new manager, things go well and he signs a new contract. But are you going to win a trophy? No. And Harry Kane won't sign that contract. And you can't really pay him the sort of money that he would get from walking out the door for free anyway. The logical thing is to say he's going to go anyway. He's going to go for nothing. Sell him now for as much as you can and start the rebuild now. And of course, whatever you rebuild with will not be Harry Kane. You cannot replace Harry Kane. You have one of the best strikers in the world. The best striker in the world would never play for Spurs. The only reason he does is because he's a legend of yours that you've built up over the years. That's why you're in that situation. You can't go and buy a replacement for Harry Kane, and that's just the mindset you need to be in. So better to have some money than no money in a year's time. It's the right decision by Spurs. How will it play out? I mean, look, Man United have been mentioned. Chelsea have been mentioned. PSG have been mentioned. Well, this is where the games begin. Spurs are right to go, he's for sale. Oh, we might sell him to United. We might sell him to Chelsea because it's all about bumping the price up. They won't. I'd be stunned if they sell him to Man United. I'd be stunned if they sell him to Chelsea because ultimately you don't want him to go to a rival. But what they will want is to entertain bids. They won't want to just say he's up for sale and we're only dealing with Bayern Munich because Bayern Munich can then, twist and shout and get the deal that they want. They want offers to come in. So the up for sale thing I think is clever from Spurs. And I think he will end up at Bayern Munich, but I think it's a negotiating tactic for Spurs now to say he's up for sale. Invite bids from other people. I'm sure PSG will come and have a sniff as well and get the best deal that you can. Obviously, Harry Kane's got to be on board. His position is now strengthened and he can basically say, I'm not going to PSG and I'm not going to Bayern Munich and I'm going to run my contract down, very much like Mbappe. But I think Kane will go to Bayern Munich. I think that's where it's going to end up. Get your comments in below. What are your thoughts on that? I will talk about Mbappe in a minute, but I do want to just talk about Arsenal. Arsenal are seen as the pretenders or the realistic contenders for the Premier League this season to fight Manchester City. They certainly did that last year and they did a fantastic job. As you know on this channel, I've waxed lyrical about Arteta for many years. I could see what he was doing even when Arsenal fans couldn't do it. So I'm not about to turn heel and start saying Arteta's crap and Arsenal are overrated. I did read a comment over the weekend that they're going to do a Leicester. They'll have a really good season and it'll all fall away. I don't agree with that. I really, really don't. But you can't read too much into pre-season. But I did just want to pose the question because, yes, it's all about transfers at the moment, but also that's football. We do the watch-alongs. There's a lot of football discussion that goes on in those, and we're getting closer to the start of the season. So I want to just pose this question. Arsenal, it is only pre-season, but I think Arteta has three big areas, and look, I'm not. Liverpool's big area is the midfield. Chelsea need a goalkeeper, a striker, and a lot. Obviously, don't even get into Spurs what they need. Man City are firm favourites, but how do they deal with the loss of some players that are going or have gone already? Man United, I discuss on the United Stand in depth every day. Newcastle, how do they deal with Champions League football and trying to get top four? Liverpool, we mentioned the midfield. Arsenal, I look at Arsenal, striker. If Jesus doesn't play, who scores the goals? Looking at the weekends, I don't know whether Arteta's going to do this, but he's going to have to work bloody hard to make it work. If he's going to go Declan Rice, Havertz and Odegaard, I worry for Arsenal next season. And people would be screaming saying, well, Manchester City do it. They do it with Gundogan and De Bruyne and Rodri. Gundogan is actually a relentless tackler of the ball. He's always, when Man City haven't got the ball, he's in his own penalty box. And he doesn't play for Man City anymore, but we're talking about last season. Gundogan can score goals, but his work rate defensively is unbelievable. Havertz doesn't work hard defensively, isn't really a dribbler, and isn't really a creator. Odegaard is more like De Bruyne. So I just don't think in this, I don't think a midfield three of Rice, Havertz and Odegaard jumps out at me as a midfield that is the way forward. I think that, Man United did this a few times last year. You go to Anfield, you go to the Etihad, you go to the Emirates, you go to St James's Park, and you have this Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno midfield three. And I know we won't have done that in every one of those games, but you get run through. You've got to have more defensive capability. I think Arteta, if he's going to keep Partey, it's got to be Rice, Partey and Odegaard. That's the way I think it's got to be. In certain games, you might get away with Havertz in there, but I don't see Havertz. What he's going to do with Havertz is going to be really interesting. I'm not going to say he's a flop because I think Arteta's a really good manager. But if it's in a midfield three, it's going to be really interesting to see how that works. We mentioned the striker situation. Look, goalkeeper, I mentioned it on TalkSport. It's been taken out of context. It always does. I was a massive fan of David De Gea. We replaced him because Ten Hag wants a ball-playing goalkeeper who's a modern goalkeeper. I looked at Ramsdale at the weekend. I don't think he's a better shot stopper than David De Gea. And I certainly don't think he's any better with his feet than David De Gea. And if he is, it's marginal. He is not Alisson. He is not Onana. He is not David Raya. He is not Ederson. And I get Arsenal fans saying, well, we don't need a ball-playing goalkeeper because our defenders are good at playing out from the back. What does that even mean? That's not what it means. You can't say our defenders are good at playing out from the back, so we don't need our goalkeeper to play out from the back. What are you going to do? You get some bloody League One goalkeeper then. The whole point of a ball-playing goalkeeper is they're the start of the attack. It doesn't start with your centre-back. It starts with your goalkeeper when they get pressed and they play high up the pitch. So that's something that Ramsdale may not need to improve on, but Arsenal don't have that type of goalkeeper. And it's interesting that Ten Hag went for one. Klopp did it. Pep did it. And Arteta, and also, I think Ramsdale makes too many mistakes. I like Ramsdale. I liked De Gea. So people are misreading it when I'm saying that they're trying to convert it into me saying Ramsdale's crap. I don't think he's crap. I like Ramsdale. But all I'm saying is he is not the type of goalkeeper that Man United have gone for, that Pep's got and Klopp's got. And in the modern game, that might be something that clubs look at and try and exploit with Arsenal. It's obviously not going to change, and Arteta's picked his man. But I still think Arsenal will have a good season. But Look, Arsenal are there to be challenged. You didn't win the league, but you woke a lot of people up. That people won't be asleep on Arsenal next season. They'll know what Arsenal are a good side, and that brings its challenges in itself. So look, be interesting to monitor them this season. They could go away like a train again. Mbappe, 300 million offer from Saudi Arabia. Fabrizio's just been reporting this. We've got Fabrizio on the show actually at 2:20, so tune in for that. We'll get all the latest on all the transfers. As I said yesterday, where's Mbappe going to go? It's all about the money. Saudi Arabia are the only ones that can really throw the money at it this year. He's obviously free next year. Does he go to Saudi Arabia for a year and then go to Real Madrid in a year's time? It's sad what football's becoming with the sheer volume of money. But ultimately, Mbappe can't complain. He stayed at PSG for too long for money. And now it's about money again. Once Saudi Arabia start bidding, you can forget about it. No Premier League club. I don't see how Real Madrid get involved now. I mean, if anything, this is good for PSG because Saudi Arabia just come in with massive money. It's going to be so interesting to see what happens. Get your comments in below about that and everything else we've discussed. Smash a like on the video, subscribe, and I'll speak to you all a bit later. Don't forget, Fabrizio, we're live with him at 2 as well. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Thanks for watching.